Hey, what's going on YouTube? It's David or Mr. Traumatic. I go by pretty much anything. Today's commentary will be about the finally officially unveiled PlayStation 4. Why am I playing Star Wars Battlefront 2 in a PlayStation 4 commentary? Because this game was awesome back in its day, one of the best games for PS2 and Xbox One, and is still awesome today. In a span of 24 hours, the gaming and tech niche of the internet has exploded with analysis and reports detailing what happened in Sony's press conference on the 20th. First, the press conference itself came as a surprise. It was a curious moment indeed for Sony to make the official reveal because it wasn't at a tech-focused event like GDC or E3. Also, I remember reading reports that Sony said they weren't in a rush to reveal their console and would wait for Microsoft to go first. But they rocked the world when they officially unveiled the inevitable successor to the PlayStation 3. Not codenamed Orbis, but PlayStation 4. I was worried that the conference would not be game-centric enough, but it does appear that in their presentation, Sony is catering to their most focused market, the gamers. At the end of the day, superfluous add-ons and multimedia functionality only take a backseat to what we really care about. How awesome will the games be? Here's a few important details we know already. We still didn't see what the actual console looks like. This will probably happen at E3. We also don't have an official price point or release date other than holiday, probably November 2013. This is a list of already revealed games. Most are exclusive, but I am personally most excited about Destiny and Watch Dogs. There is guaranteed no backwards compatibility with PS3 games, at least through discs. PS4 won't block used games. Now I'm going to dive directly into a discussion on hardware and performance. The currently revealed specs about the PlayStation 4 are on screen now. Programmers will love the AMD 64-bit x86 architecture of the CPU. It's what we have in operating systems like Windows 7 and Windows 8. It will make programming a lot better than the cell processor of the PlayStation 3. The reason why multi-platform games didn't do so well on PS3 was because it was difficult to program for relative to the Xbox 360 and the PC. This shouldn't be a problem for the PS4. The CPU's codename is Jaguar. I don't know why they still need a placeholder for it. The graphics card is what will really drive how good the games look. It's an AMD Radeon comparable to modern 7000 series, and it has 1.864 teraflops and GDDR5 memory. I was initially taken aback by the decision to go with AMD instead of Nvidia for their components, but after thinking, it makes sense. Consoles are manufactured by the millions, and Nvidia is pricey. What does 1.864 teraflops really mean? A flop is a measure of floating point operations per second, and total flops is a quick guide to raw processing power. The flops put the GPU at between the current Radeon HD 7850 and 7870. For Nvidia cards, it is around the GTX 660 stock, which has 1.861 teraflops. If we were just to go by the flops and assume near 7870 performance, the PS4 will be able to run Battlefield 3 at slightly over 60 frames on maxed out settings with anti-aliasing and motion blur. However, teraflops aren't the whole story. More flops mean faster polygon rendering and faster frame output. A moment in the PlayStation 4 press conference did focus on showing over 30,000 polygons in a face render, but polygons are easy for GPUs to handle. A lot of GPUs can do over 1 billion polygons per second. What's really taxing for GPUs is the shader processing, ambient occlusion, depth of field, physics, tessellation, and other DirectX 11 features. Sony has not told us the clock speed of the GPU or the number of shaders, which also have an important say in performance. The current rumored GPU of the next Xbox is said to have 1.2 teraflops, but that doesn't automatically make PS4 graphics better than the next Xboxes. Without additional specifications given, we won't know for sure what graphics we can really expect. Also, it's hard to compare PC specs to console specs. It's easier to optimize graphics for consoles because they are meant mostly for gaming, whereas PCs have other tasks they have to function for. You can get more mileage out of a console graphics card relative to a PC card with similar specifications. Although right now on paper the graphics card of the PS4 looks like it belongs in a mid-range PC, in the beginning, maybe going into the first year through its launch, the graphics won't look that great relative to how they could be. Think of how the first few launch titles of the Xbox 360 and PS3 looked. Back then, I doubt anybody would imagine that Halo 4 and Borderlands 2 could look as good as they look today. But later on, the graphics of the PlayStation 4 will improve drastically and get better optimized. So if this pattern holds true, the earlier launch titles will look slightly worse than Battlefield 3 maxed out on mid-range current PC cards, but will get better to levels we can't quite picture yet. I've seen some of the earlier game demos for the PlayStation 4 like Watch Dogs, which looks amazing not just from a graphical standpoint, but having been gaming on PC for a while now, I wasn't completely blown away. The problem is that there just aren't any games out there that take full advantage of this graphical power for single display 1080p gaming. I hate to say this as a huge fan of consoles, but consoles have handicapped developers quite a bit. It's intriguing to think about how good games like Crysis 3 could have been if they didn't develop for consoles at the start, but developed freely and did a backport later on. So to summarize, we won't have a complete picture of how good the graphics will look until PlayStation releases more specs. Even then, we can't predict the future. But if the Xbox 360 and PS3 generations of graphical development is any indication, the future of PlayStation 4 graphics will be unimaginably beautiful. Next, I'm going to talk about the PS4 RAM, the random access memory. It has GDDR5 8 gigs of shared RAM, split among the CPU and the graphics card. I think the RAM should have a lot less emphasis than people are giving it at the moment. It has only subtle effects overall. Some of that RAM will be used by the operating system and some by the graphics. Most modern games run fine on just 4 gigs of RAM. What it will really help with is multitasking. Background downloads are now possible, and you can switch seamlessly between tasks like messaging, Netflix, video chat, and other things. So that's good to hear. They haven't released the size of the hard drive yet, but it should be huge relative to cost as more consumers get their games from digital downloads now. I hope I've given a pretty comprehensive overview of the hardware, but now I'm going to talk about other features of the PS4. The DualShock design makes a return. The joysticks are now concave instead of the previous convex domes. I am bummed that it doesn't use the opposing analog stick position like the 360. It doesn't have a touch screen, but instead has a touch pad for fine input. It also has motion control. They didn't go too in-depth about the controller outside of the share button, which brings me to my next point. A huge portion of the conference centered around the connectivity features of the PS4. Screen share is possible. You can just jump into watching your friend play. It will feel almost like you are in the same room as they are. If you two have the same game, he can hand off his control to you, so you are now controlling the game. For all of the 200 people that actually bought a PS Vita, you can use it to control your PS4, and the PS4 can stream its games to the PS Vita screen. What I'm about to say is the feature I'm most excited about. PlayStation 4 will have built-in streaming and video sharing. From what I hear, right now it's only through Ustream, not YouTube or Twitch, and the sharing of clips is only through the PlayStation Network. This is huge for the online video community. Built-in recording was something I thought should be in next-gen consoles anyway. I don't want equipment to be the limiting factor to people making quality videos. I don't want to miss out on great talent because they couldn't afford an external video capture card. Sure, there will always be a secondary market for the selling of better recording equipment, but this sounds like a great starting point for more people to start making videos. I'm really looking forward to seeing what the PlayStation 4 will bring to the world of games. Developers are all jumping on board now. Creativity should not be bound by technological limitations. I want to see all these features seamlessly integrated into a better gaming experience. A successful platform is one with a great toolkit. Some of the best things that happened to gaming in recent memory have come from modding or independent design out of the private sector. Look at Minecraft and DayZ. The sandbox that the PlayStation has become should lead to revolutions in gaming. Gaming will have fewer boundaries and be a natural extension of your life. Bungie's Destiny doesn't even have a main menu. You just sit down and get back to where you left off. Wow, that was deep. As always, I really appreciate you taking the time to listen to this commentary all the way through. You could have been anywhere, watching any video, and yet you found mine to be interesting enough to finish. I can't easily thank you enough, nor can I possibly describe how much it means to me. I worked really hard on this commentary, so if you could leave a like rating on this video and share this with someone, it would make me really motivated to keep working hard. I'd like to leave you guys with the question, what games are you most excited to see? Thanks again, keep being awesome, and have a great day.